I used to think my mother, in law's obsession with social media, was annoying but mostly harmless. Sure, Linda filmed everything. Family dinners, birthday candles, Christmas gift openings, nothing escaped her phone camera. She liked calling herself a family lifestyle creator, which sounded much more glamorous than what she actually was, a 58-year-old woman desperate for likes from strangers. Normally, I just rolled my eyes and stayed out of frame, but my daughter Sophie was different. At 8 years old, Sophie was sunshine in human form, soft-spoken, sweet, and painfully trusting. She had these long golden curls that fell almost to her waist, the kind strangers constantly complimented at grocery stores. Her hair wasn't just hair to her. 3 years earlier, Sophie had donated 12 inches of it after seeing a video about children losing their hair during cancer treatment. She was only 5 at the time, proudly holding her tiny ponytail in her hands like she was giving away treasure. Afterward, she declared she wanted to grow it long again. So she did. Every inch mattered to her. Every night, I helped brush it while she told me stories about school, friends, and whatever imaginary world she was currently building in her head. Sometimes she'd ask, "Do you think it's long enough to donate again next year?" That Saturday started like any other. I had a last-minute client meeting and needed someone to watch Sophie for 2 hours. My husband Noah was stuck at work, so against my better judgment, I called Linda. "Oh, of course," she said brightly. "We'll have a lovely girls' afternoon." Something in me hesitated, but I ignored it. Big mistake. When I pulled into Linda's driveway later that afternoon, I immediately heard loud laughter from inside the house. Not Sophie laughter, adult laughter. Then my phone buzzed. A text from a friend. "Is this Sophie?" Attached was a TikTok link. My stomach dropped. I clicked it before even getting out of the car. The video opened with cheerful music. There was Sophie, sitting on a tall kitchen stool, smiling uncertainly while text flashed across the screen, giving my niece a surprise glow-up scissors. Sparkles. The next clip showed Kayla, Linda's 22-year-old daughter in Southborough, claimed influencer, holding a fistful of Sophie's curls. Then scissors, huge chunks falling, Kayla laughing, Linda filming in the background. Comments were already flooding in. "OMG, so brave," face with tears of joy. "Not the bangs, lol, kids are the best cunt." And my hands started shaking so badly, I nearly dropped my phone. I flew out of the car and slammed the front door open hard enough to rattle the frame. The scene inside was worse than the video. Sophie sat frozen on a bar stool in the kitchen, tears balancing in her wide blue eyes like she was afraid to let them fall. Her beautiful curls were everywhere, on the floor, on the counter, caught in Linda's slippers. Her hair, once thick and golden and carefully grown for years, was now hacked into a crooked chin, length bob with uneven bangs that looked like they'd been cut during an earthquake. Kayla stood nearby, still holding scissors in one hand and her phone in the other. She turned, grinning. "Oh good, you're back. Wait until you see how cute she looks on camera." I don't remember dropping my purse, but I remember the sound. "What?" I said, my voice terrifyingly calm. "Did you do?" Linda sighed dramatically like I was interrupting something important. "For heaven's sake, Emma, relax. It's just hair." Sophie's lip trembled. "Aunt Kayla said Grandma said it would be fun," she whispered. That sentence broke something in me. Kayla rolled her eyes. She wanted a makeover. No, she didn't. Well, she didn't say no. She is 8. The room went silent. Linda crossed her arms. "You're being ridiculously dramatic. Hair grows back." I stared at her, not at Kayla. At Linda, because this was her. This was the woman who had taught her grown daughter that my child was a prop, a source of engagement, a before and after transformation for strangers to consume. Sophie finally started crying quiet, shaking tears that made my chest ache. That was enough. I walked over, wrapped her in my arms, and lifted her off the stool. "We're leaving." Kayla laughed nervously. "Wait, I haven't filmed the reveal reaction yet." I turned so slowly I think even she realized she'd stepped too far. Delete the video, Linda scoffed. Absolutely not. It already has 12,000 views. That sentence told me everything. Not apology, not concern, views, numbers, engagement, profit. I adjusted Sophie on my hip, grabbed her backpack, and walked straight to the door. Behind me, Linda called after us, "You are overreacting over dead cells." I didn't answer, because by then I was done being angry. Anger was hot and messy. What I felt now was cold, focused, precise. As I buckled Sophie into the back seat, she touched her ruined bangs with trembling fingers. "Mommy," she whispered, "do I look ugly?" My heart shattered. I leaned in, kissed her forehead, and said the only honest thing I could. "No, sweetheart, but they're about to." The moment we got home, Sophie ran straight to the bathroom. I followed a few seconds later and found her standing on a little step stool, staring at herself in the mirror like she was looking at a stranger. She touched the ends of her hair carefully, almost like maybe, if she was gentle enough, the missing length would somehow return. Then she burst into tears, not loud crying, not tantrum crying, the kind that comes from real heartbreak, small, shaking sobs that made her shoulders tremble. I wrapped my arms around her from behind. "It's okay," I whispered. "It's not okay." Sophie cried. I was growing it for so long. That sentence made my throat tighten. She was right. This wasn't some harmless prank. This wasn't just hair. It was trust, autonomy, and something my daughter had spent years caring for, all taken from her because two adults thought internet attention mattered more than her feelings. I knelt down beside her. "Listen to me carefully," I said. "What happened to you was wrong." She wiped her nose. "Are Grandma and Aunt Kayla in trouble?" "Oh," I said softly, "very much so." That got the tiniest flicker of relief from her. After I got Sophie settled on the couch with hot chocolate, a blanket, and her favorite cartoon, I got to work. First evidence, I screenshotted everything: Kayla's TikTok, her Instagram reel, Linda's Facebook post proudly captioned, "Unexpected niece makeover." Kids are so spontaneous, face scissors, my jaw clenched. There were already thousands of likes, comments from strangers joking about Sophie's face. One person wrote, "She looks traumatized, lol." I took that screenshot too. Then I noticed something else, ads. Kayla had monetization enabled. She wasn't just humiliating my daughter. She was making money from it. Unbelievable. I opened my laptop and began saving links, timestamps, comment sections, everything. That's when I remembered something critical. Next Friday, Sophie was supposed to do a children's catalog photo shoot for a local boutique brand. Nothing huge, but she'd been excited for weeks. She had been chosen specifically because of her long natural curls for a fall campaign. I checked the contract email. There it was in writing. No major changes to child's appearance prior to shoot. A bitter smile tugged at my lips. Interesting. I emailed the coordinator immediately. Short, professional, honest, due to unauthorized alteration to my daughter's appearance while under third party supervision, Sophie may no longer meet campaign requirements. Please advise. They responded faster than I expected. I barely made it halfway through the email before laughing out loud. Unfortunately, Sophie was no longer suitable for the shoot. The canceled booking fee, $3,500. Now we were no longer discussing feelings alone. We had measurable damages. Perfect. Next call. Ava, my college roommate turned attorney. She answered on the second ring. "Why do you sound like you're about to commit a felony?" "Because I'm trying very hard not to." After I explained everything, there was a long silence. "Then they did what?" I repeated it. Slower, Ava let out a low whistle. "Okay, that is spectacularly stupid. Can I do anything?" "Oh, Emma," she said, almost sounding impressed. "You can do several things." For the next 20 minutes, Ava walked me through every possible angle. Unauthorized filming of a minor, monetizing a child's image without parental consent, intentional alteration of appearance, potential emotional distress claim, loss of contracted income, Each point made me calmer, more focused. By 9:40 p.m., Ava had drafted a formal cease and desist notice, delete all content featuring Sophie immediately. Remove all monetized videos. Cease further use of child likeness. Failure to comply may result in legal action. Beautiful. I emailed it to both Linda and Kayla. Then I waited. It took 6 minutes. Kayla called first. Declined, then Linda. Declined, then Noah. I answered. What happened? He asked, already sounding exhausted. Ask your mother why our daughter is trending online with a butchered haircut. Silence, then, what? I sent you the link. A full 30 seconds passed. When he spoke again, his voice had changed. Emma, I'm coming home. Good, but I wasn't finished. I reported Kayla's content directly through every platform. Unauthorized exploitation of a minor, harassment. Bullying, privacy violation. Submit, submit, submit. Then came my favorite move, one Facebook post. No drama, no screaming, just facts. An adult cut my 8-year-old daughter's hair without my permission for social media content, causing emotional harm and financial loss. Legal action has been initiated. No names, no tags, no theatrics. I hit post and sat back. Within minutes, mutual friends started connecting dots faster than detectives in a crime documentary. Comments exploded. Messages flooded in. People were furious, and somewhere across town, I imagined Linda and Kayla watching their phones light up like Christmas decorations. It was only 10:17 p.m., and their night was just getting started. By 10:30 p.m., my phone looked like it had developed a personality disorder. Buzzing, ringing, flashing, vibrating across the kitchen counter like it was trying to escape. I sipped my tea and watched it happen. Kayla had called 12 times, Linda 9. 3 unknown numbers I assumed were either extended family members or Kayla's panicked little influencer friends trying to do damage control. Ignored every single one. Across the room, Sophie had finally fallen asleep on the couch, curled under her dinosaur blanket, one hand tucked under her cheek. Seeing her peaceful again made me even less interested in showing mercy. I opened TikTok. Kayla's video had doubled in views. But the mood had changed dramatically. The comment section was no longer full of laughing emojis and cute makeover reactions. Now it was war. You cut a child's hair without permission. This is actually disgusting. That little girl looks devastated. Reported. People had started stitching the video, zooming in on Sophie's face frame by frame. Her hesitant smile before the haircut. The confusion, the forced stillness, the tears gathering afterward. It was impossible to watch and still think this was harmless. One creator with over 1 million followers posted, "Kids are not props for your content addiction." That clip alone had 50,000 views in under an hour. Oops, at 10:52 p.m. Kayla made her worst decision of the evening. She went live. I nearly laughed when I saw the notification. Of course she did. Nothing says I'm innocent like publicly digging your own grave in real time. I clicked in. Kayla sat in her bedroom with smeared mascara, pouting dramatically into the camera. I feel like people are twisting what happened. She sniffled. Sophie wanted a haircut, and everyone's acting like I committed a crime. The comments were merciless. She's 8. Did her mother consent? Answer that. You monetized it too. Kayla ignored every useful question. It was supposed to be fun content. She insisted. Fun content. There it was again. That phrase. As if my daughter's feelings were secondary to audience retention. Then someone in the live comments posted a screenshot of my Facebook statement. You could visibly watch Kayla read it. Her expression shifted from performative sadness to genuine panic. Oh my God, she whispered. Yes, exactly. She ended the live 17 seconds later, cowardly but understandable, at 11:08 p.m. My husband finally came home. Noah walked through the door, loosened tie hanging around his neck, face pale. He looked like a man who had just discovered his family was somehow even worse than previously estimated. He sat beside me at the kitchen table. I watched the video. I folded my arms and, His jaw tightened. I'm sorry, that surprised me enough to actually blink. No defensive speech, no mom didn't mean it, no minimizing. Just sorry, he rubbed his forehead. I called my mother. How'd that go? She said you're overreacting and destroying Kayla's career. I snorted. Interesting, how nobody was worried about destroying Sophie's confidence. He didn't argue. Instead, he looked toward the sleeping lump on the couch and went very still. She asked me if she looked ugly. I said quietly, that did it. I watched guilt hit Noah like a truck. His shoulders dropped. Oh, yep, at 11:31 p.m. The first sponsorship announcement disappeared from Kayla's Instagram. A skincare company quietly removed their partnership post. Then another, then another. Brands were backing away faster than people from a fire alarm. One even commented publicly, "We do not support content involving minors without guardian consent. Delicious." Then came the message I'd been waiting for. TikTok notification. This content has been removed for violating community guidelines. I smiled so hard my cheeks hurt. Not only was the video gone, but users were now spamming Kayla's remaining posts with screenshots asking where it went. The trace and effect was working beautifully. At 11:47 p.m., Linda finally texted instead of calling. "Please stop this, Kayla is hysterical." I stared at the message for a moment, then replied with 6 words. "So was my 8-year-old daughter sent." No further explanation needed. A minute later, Noah's phone rang. His mother, he declined it without hesitation. Growth. By 11:58 p.m., Kayla had lost nearly 40,000 followers. Her comments were locked, her stories deleted, her monetization account reportedly under review, and Linda. Apparently, her neighborhood Facebook moms had discovered the situation. Turns out humiliating a child isn't the strongest brand strategy for suburban social circles. Midnight arrived quietly, no explosions, no dramatic confrontations, just consequences landing exactly where they belonged. I looked at the clock, 12:00 a.m., right on schedule. I whispered to myself, almost amused, well, that was efficient. The next morning I woke up to 7 unread messages, 4 missed calls, and exactly 0 regrets. Sunlight spilled through the kitchen window while I made pancakes shaped like terrible little hearts for Sophie. She was still quieter than usual, but at least she was eating, which felt like progress. Her new haircut framed her face awkwardly, the uneven bangs somehow managing to look worse in daylight. But when she smiled faintly at my disastrous pancake art, I decided hair could be fixed. Trust was harder. At 9:14 a.m., the doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. Linda, of course, because people like Linda only believe in consequences until those consequences become inconvenient. I opened the door just enough to block the entrance. She stood there in oversized sunglasses despite the cloudy weather, clutching her designer handbag like it was emotional support equipment. For once she looked less polished. "Good, Emma," she started, voice softer than usual. "Can we talk?" "No." She blinked, clearly unused to such efficient rejection. "This has gone too far." I laughed, a short, humorless sound. "You let your adult daughter cut my child's hair without permission, film it, monetize it, and upload it for strangers to laugh at." Linda sighed dramatically, as though I was exhausting. It was supposed to be fun. There it was, again. That sentence deserved its own villain origin story. Fun, I repeated, interesting definition. She lowered her sunglasses slightly. "Kayla hasn't stopped crying." I stared at her, not because I was moved, because it was genuinely impressive how committed she remained to missing the point. "My daughter cried herself to sleep," I said. Linda hesitated. For a fraction of a second, something close to shame flickered across her face. Then it vanished. "Can I at least see Sophie?" "No." Her expression hardened. "You can't keep grandchildren away over one misunderstanding." I leaned casually against the doorframe. This wasn't a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding is buying the wrong birthday cake. Linda's mouth tightened. This was a deliberate choice by two adults who treated a child like free content. She opened her mouth again. Bad idea, you don't get access to someone you're willing to exploit. That landed, she went very still. Finally, a sentence she actually understood, control, that was Linda's real currency, not love, not family. Access, influence, being denied that hurt her more than public embarrassment ever could. I think you're making a mistake, she said coldly. Probably, I replied, but at least I didn't live stream it. And with that, I shut the door, honestly. One of the top 5 moments of my year. Later that afternoon, Kayla sent me a text, not an apology. Not at first, a negotiation. Can we please resolve this privately? I'll send money. I stared at the screen. Amazing, after all that, her first instinct was still damage management, not remorse, brand repair. I replied, money isn't the issue, accountability is. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, returned, finally, what do you want? Simple, a public apology, a real one. No excuses, no sorry if anyone was offended, no blaming internet culture or misunderstandings. And permanent deletion of every image or video involving Sophie. Kayla resisted for exactly 20 minutes. Then she folded. By evening, she posted a statement across all her platforms. It read, I violated personal boundaries and caused harm to a child by prioritizing content over consent. My actions were selfish, immature, and inexcusable. All related content has been permanently removed. Not poetic, but effective. Comments remained brutal, as they should. But I was done caring about Kayla's audience. The only opinion I cared about was sitting beside me on the couch wearing fuzzy socks and holding a juice box. The next day I took Sophie to the best children's stylist in town, not a rushed correction, a proper reset. The stylist was kind, patient, and somehow turned the uneven disaster into a genuinely adorable, textured bob. When Sophie looked in the mirror this time, she smiled, a real smile, not forced, not uncertain, just small and genuine. Oh, she said, touching the ends, it's actually cute. I nearly cried from relief. We celebrated with ice cream, matching sparkly headbands, and a shopping trip where she picked out entirely too many hair clips. That night, as I tucked her into bed, she looked up at me. Mom, yeah, do you still think I'm pretty? I brushed her new bangs gently off her forehead. You were never your hair, sweetheart. She smiled sleepily. Then I added with complete sincerity, but anyone who hurts you will always regret it. And somewhere across town, I was certain 2 women already did.